Hello everyone and welcome to my video lecture series. So today we are going to start with the topic called as synapse, and we are also going to discuss the two types of synapse which are present, that is electrical synapse and chemical synapse. If you are watching this video and if you have yet not subscribed to my channel, kindly do so. Also press the bell icon so that you will be notified immediately as I upload a new video. Anyway, coming back to our topic for today, we are going to start with something called as synapse. We have already studied the structure of a neuron, okay, and in that last video lecture I have also told you something regarding synapse, so you all must be having a specific idea about what we are going to study today. But today we are going to study this topic in greater detail, right? So what exactly is a synapse? See, synapse is basically a junction between two neurons in which the impulse will be transferred from one neuron to the other. The neuron which is transferring the impulse, that neuron is called as a presynaptic neuron. A presynaptic neuron is the neuron which is going to transfer the impulse, the electrical impulse, and the impulse which is transferred by the presynaptic neuron is received by the next neuron, and that next neuron which receives the impulse, it is called as the postsynaptic neuron, right? So the impulse is going to pass from ear to ear. So basically you can say that the passing of the message or the electrical impulse from one neuron to another, that is called as a synapse. Now when we study synapse, there are many components that we have to study, okay? For example, what is the neuron called which is responsible for transmitting the impulse? What is the neuron called which is responsible for receiving the impulse? Okay, then whether there is a gap or not between the two neurons. So let us learn about all those components. So I hope this is clear. I hope the definition of synapse is clear. It is the junction between two neurons where electrical impulse is transmitted by one neuron and it is received by the next neuron. All right, now coming to the components. Now when we talk about synapse in general, the presynaptic neuron, when we talk about that, okay, let us write that down. Presynaptic neuron. Now which part of the presynaptic neuron is important? See, the presynaptic neuron also receives the impulse. The dendrites will receive the impulse, then it will pass to the dendron, then it will pass to the cyton, then to the axon, and then it will pass to the telodendron. Now the terminal most parts of the telodendron are called as the axon terminal. So in the presynaptic neuron, the terminal most part will have the impulse, okay? So I can say that the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron holds the impulse. Now this impulse has to be transmitted to the postsynaptic neuron. Now which part of the postsynaptic neuron will receive the impulse? Can you think about that? In a neuron, which is the first part which receives a new impulse? It is always going to be the dendrites, right? So in the postsynaptic neuron, the dendrites are the parts which are going to receive the impulse from the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron. I hope this is clear. We are also going to draw a diagram so that it becomes easy. So these two parts become very, very important in a synapse. The axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron, which is the neuron which is going to transmit the impulse, and the dendrites of the postsynaptic neuron, that is the neuron which is going to receive the impulse. Now between these two parts, suppose if I draw it over here, suppose if I am drawing a very, very simple diagram over here, all right, this is, or let me draw it over here, this is the cyton of the presynaptic neuron, okay, these are the dendrites which are present, correct? And then this is the axon, and this is the telodendron, and this is the axon terminal. So this is your presynaptic neuron. Now the postsynaptic neuron, suppose if I draw it with a different color, slightly different color, let me take the green color over here. So the postsynaptic neuron is somewhere over here. This is the cyton, right? These are the dendrites, and this is the axon of the postsynaptic neuron, and it will also end in telodendron. So this green colored one is the postsynaptic neuron. Now if you see, the message is going to be transmitted from the presynaptic neuron. So the direction of message flow, if you want, it is going to be like this: the dendrite, from the dendrite to the dendron to the cyton, then axon, and then over here. So this message which is transmitted from the presynaptic neuron to the postsynaptic neuron, you can see that there is no physical connection between the two neurons. If you see in this diagram, the dendrite of the postsynaptic neuron is not physically connected to the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron. In fact, there is a space which is present. Okay, so over here, this space which is present between the axon terminal and the dendrite, this space is called as synaptic cleft. Please remember. Okay, and the two neurons are not physically touching each other. So the impulse is going to have to travel through this gap or this cleft. This is also called as a synaptic gap. Okay, it can also be called as a gap junction because it is helping in connection of the two neurons, or it is also called as a synaptic cleft, and this is basically the gap present between the pre and the postsynaptic neuron. Are you getting me? Now, depending upon whether the synapse is electrical or chemical, the gap may be less or it may be more. In cases of electrical synapse, the gap between the pre and the postsynaptic neuron is very, very less, and in case of chemical synapse, the gap is much more. So I hope these components are clear. So which are the components which form the synapse? The axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron, correct? Then there is a synaptic cleft, then the dendrites of the postsynaptic neuron. All these three components together will form the synapse. If you want me to highlight the area of the synapse, then using blue color, I can say that this square box which I have drawn, this is the area of the synapse. This is the area where synapse is occurring. Alright, now let us start with the first type of synapse, that is going to be electrical synapse. Now electrical synapse is very, very easy. There is nothing much to remember. Okay, so what we are going to draw is, we are going to draw a simple diagram showing electrical synapse. Let me write down the main heading over here. Alright, now coming to the diagram, I am going to draw the presynaptic neuron first. So I am going to draw the axon terminal directly. This is the axon terminal, the last part of the presynaptic neuron. I am directly drawing it. Okay, and I am going to label it as presynaptic neuron. Alright, and into bracket I am going to write down axon terminal. So I don't need to draw the entire presynaptic neuron for that. And then I am going to draw the next neuron, which is going to be the postsynaptic neuron, but I don't have to connect it with the presynaptic neuron. I have to keep a space. So I'm going to keep a small space, and this part is going to be the dendrites of the postsynaptic neuron. Alright, so you can see this, and over here I'm going to write down postsynaptic neuron, and into bracket I'm going to write down dendrites or dendrite. Alright, now what is going to happen is, in the case of electrical synapse, it is very, very easy. When the impulse reaches the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron, okay, it will directly jump over the synaptic cleft. See this space which is present in between. Okay, I'm going to just shade that space. If you can see, I'm using the orange color to shade this space, and this space, as I have already told you, It is called as the synaptic cleft. So what happens in the case of electrical synapse is, if I'm using the green color to denote the impulse will travel to the axon terminal, and directly from the axon terminal it will jump into the dendrite of the postsynaptic neuron. It is something like this that we have learned about nodes of Ranvier, and we have learned how electrical impulses jump from one node of Ranvier to another. So in a similar fashion, the electrical impulse, as it reaches the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron, that electrical impulse will jump over the electrical cleft, or it will jump over the synaptic cleft, and it will directly enter the dendrite of the postsynaptic neuron. And that means now the postsynaptic neuron has received the impulse, and that impulse will be conducted throughout the body of the postsynaptic neuron. So again it will go into the dendrites. From the dendrites it will go into the dendron, cyton, axon, and so on of the postsynaptic neuron. So this is very simple. This is called as electrical synapse, wherein the electrical impulse just jumps from the axon terminal to the dendrite, from one neuron to the other. Now in the case of electrical synapse, the synaptic cleft, or the distance between the pre and the postsynaptic neuron, is very less, and approximately the distance, if you see, that distance is 3.8 nanometer. And the distance has to be less, because if the synaptic cleft distance is more, then the electrical impulse will not be able to jump over such a large distance. So please remember, in the case of chemical synapse, the distance between the pre and the postsynaptic neuron is approximately between 20 to 40 nanometers. Okay, so that distance is a lot, but in electrical synapse, the synaptic cleft length is very less. Please remember. So with that, we have finished electrical synapse. Now, which areas will need electrical synapse? Now think, if you think well, you will realize that impulses which need to reach quickly, they will require electrical synapse, because electrical synapse is much quicker compared to chemical synapse. All right, because here only the electrical impulse is going to go from one neuron to other. There are no chemicals which are involved. So normally in all the reflex actions, right, I'm going to write it down over here. Most of the reflex pathways, they show the presence of this type of synapse. All right, for example, your reflex actions based on defense, right? Somebody is coming to hit you, or you are trying to defend yourself, or you can say, if you touch a hot object, you are removing your hand from that object. All these reflexes are very quick. They need the impulse to travel very quickly. So all these areas are the ones which have the presence of electrical synapse. All right, so the impulses, when they need to be conducted at a much faster rate, all those examples will show the presence of an electrical synapse. I hope this is clear. Okay, so it is very simple. Now coming to the next type of synapse, and that is called as chemical synapse. Now chemical synapse is slightly more complicated. It is not very difficult, but it is definitely much more complicated compared to electrical synapse. So let us write it down. Now again, the components are going to be the same. There is going to be the presynaptic neuron, postsynaptic neuron, synaptic cleft, but now we are going to use more words. All right, so don't get hassled by that. Again, I'm going to draw the first one, which is going to be the presynaptic neuron. Again, the last part, the axon terminal part of the presynaptic neuron. I'll be drawing a slightly bigger diagram, because there are more components to explain over here. So you can see, this is the diagram which I have drawn. Again, this is going to be what? This is going to be the axon terminal of which neuron? Presynaptic neuron. Correct? Same thing. Now what I'm going to do is, before I draw the postsynaptic neuron, there are certain things which I need to show you over here. Now this presynaptic neuron, which is present in the case of chemical synapse, this has got certain channels inside the structure. So I'm just going to try and rub this off. Okay, what I'm going to show you is there are certain channels which are present, or you can say the gates which are present. I'm drawing them with this orange color. Okay, so these orange colored gates, they are basically the channels which are going to allow calcium ions to flow in. Now when I use the word channel, it means that it is like a door. When the door opens, the ion or molecules can enter the neuron. When the door closes, the ions cannot enter the neuron. So these channels are called as calcium channels, because when these channels open, the calcium ions from outside can enter the neuron. When these channels close, the calcium ions can no longer enter the neuron. Also remember one more thing. Inside the neuron, the matrix which is present, it is called as intracellular. I will write it down over here. The matrix is called as intracellular fluid, that is inside the neuron. Whereas outside the neuron, in the nervous tissue, the liquid which is present between the neurons, it is called as extracellular fluid. So if I use these words, don't get confused. For example, if I shade this internal area with this blue color, as you see, this internal area is the intracellular fluid. So I will just label it, and suppose if this liquid which is present outside the neuron, if you can see it, I am highlighting it with yellow color, this is called as extracellular fluid. Matrix present inside the neuron is intracellular, outside the neuron is extracellular. So let me just rub this off. All right, so I hope this is clear. I hope the channels are clear. These channels are called as calcium channels. Now these calcium channels, they are basically operated by voltage. Okay, so these are called as voltage gated calcium channels. I will explain what it means. Let me write it down first. This is voltage gated calcium channel. Now what is the meaning of voltage gated? See, that means that when the impulse reaches this axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron, that impulse is going to cause these calcium channels to open. So till there is no impulse in these areas, the channels will remain closed. Suppose right now the presynaptic neuron is at rest. That means there is no impulse which is being conducted. At that time, all the calcium ion channels will be closed because there is no impulse over there. But as soon as the presynaptic neuron receives an electrical impulse, that impulse will again travel from the dendrites to the dendron to the cyton to the axon and to the axon terminal. So suppose if the impulse has reached over here, which I am showing with a green arrow over here, that means the impulse, it is an electrical impulse, it is having some voltage. That voltage will cause these calcium channels to open up, and that is why these channels are called as voltage gated calcium channels. That means that voltage of the electrical impulse, it is going to cause the channels to open up, and as soon as the impulse vanishes, the channels will close. So only when the impulse enters that axon terminal area of the presynaptic neuron, the channels will open and the calcium ions will rush inside from the extracellular fluid. So now the impulse has reached over here. I have shown it with a green arrow. As soon as the impulse reaches the axon terminal, these voltage gated channels will open up. So if you want, I can show that they have opened. I can increase the space present between the channels. So now if you see over here, you can see that the channels have opened. Earlier they were closed. And because of the opening of the channels, what will happen is the calcium ions will flow inside from the extracellular fluid and into the intracellular fluid. So I am showing the calcium ions over here. I hope you are getting this point. Why are the calcium ions flowing inside the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron? Because the channels are present, calcium channels, which are controlled by the voltage of the electrical impulse. As soon as the electrical impulse or the electrical message enters the axon terminal, it causes these channels to open. And when the channels open, what happens is the calcium ion concentration. Please remember that the ions, this is a general rule which you need to remember. Ions, they always travel from a region of higher concentration to a region of lesser concentration. Obviously, the calcium ion concentration is much more in the extracellular fluid, and inside the neuron the concentration of calcium ions is less. So as soon as the calcium channels open up, the calcium ions will flow inside, or they will rush inside into the neuron, and that is what I have shown here with the yellow colored arrow. Is this clear? I hope this part is clear. Please understand this. This is an entirely conceptual topic, okay? And if you can understand it, it will be very, very easy. Now what happens is, this is happening. Now, apart from these structures which I have drawn over here, this entire axon terminal, okay, which I have labeled over here, this axon terminal, it is also called as a synaptic bulb. So I will use another labeling over here. Okay, now I'm going to rub this axon terminal over here, and I'm going to use a much better word for that, or a much better terminology for it, and that is going to be synaptic bulb, or it is also called as a synaptic cleft. I'm sorry, synaptic knob, not synaptic cleft. So the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron, it is also called as a synaptic bulb or synaptic knob. Why are we using the words knob or bulb? Because the appearance of the structure is like a knob. If you see a door knob which is slightly circular, it will appear like this, or it appears like a bulb, right? So that is why the axon terminal, it is also called as the synaptic bulb or synaptic knob. Now inside this synaptic knob are present specialized structures, and these structures are called as vesicles. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to draw vesicles over here. I'm going to show them with a slightly different color. I'm going to show them with a red color. So what I'm doing is, I'm drawing these red colored structures. Okay, these structures are called as synaptic vesicles, and inside these vesicles are present the neurotransmitters. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use the same color, and I'm going to draw these granular structures inside the vesicles. Now we have already studied about neurotransmitters. Can you recollect which part of the neuron is responsible for formation of neurotransmitters? Till then I will just label this circular structure. It is called as a synaptic vesicle, and inside the synaptic vesicle is present neurotransmitter. So I'm going to write filled with neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are basically chemicals. Yes, does anybody remember? Nissls granules are responsible for formation of neurotransmitters. I had told you in the previous lecture, Nissls granules are responsible for the formation of an enzyme, and that enzyme is further responsible for the formation of neurotransmitters, right? Neurotransmitters are the chemicals which are going to be secreted by the presynaptic neuron. They will attach to the postsynaptic neuron and generate an impulse. That is why this is called chemical synapse. So over here you can see that these vesicles are present, and inside the vesicles are bags which are storing neurotransmitters. Now what happens is, these vesicles, when the calcium channels are closed, okay, when the impulse has still not reached the axon terminal, the calcium channels are closed, right? So at that time the vesicles are present over here. But as soon as the impulse reaches the axon terminal, the calcium channels open and the calcium ions rush in. And because of that, what happens is, these calcium ions, they bind with the vesicles. Now suppose if I'm using yellow color to show calcium ions, okay, then what is going to happen is these calcium ions, I'm showing these yellow beads, they will attach with these vesicles. And when these calcium ions attach with these vesicles begin to migrate towards the terminal end. So they will begin to move downwards. Okay, and because of that, what is going to happen is these vesicles will reach towards the edge of the axon terminal. So you will have these vesicles which are moving in this direction, and they will soon reach over here. I hope you are getting this. So what is the function of calcium ions? The calcium ions bind to the vesicles and they transport them towards the edge. If the calcium ions are not present, the vesicles will remain inside the axon terminal, and inside the vesicle the neurotransmitters will be present, but you want to release the neurotransmitters, so you need to get the vesicles towards the edge of the axon terminal. So as soon as the calcium ions bind to the vesicles will reach towards the edge of the axon terminal, and you can see that the neurotransmitters are still present inside the vesicles. And now as soon as the vesicles have reached towards the edge of the axon terminal, they will burst, because you need to release the neurotransmitters, right? You need to attach the neurotransmitters to the postsynaptic neuron, and this bursting of vesicles, it is called as exocytosis. So what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to show that these vesicles have burst. Okay, and I will show the vesicles like this, so you can see that they have opened up, right? And I will also draw the edge of the axon terminal. And because of this bursting effect, what has happened is that these neurotransmitters have now been released in the synaptic cleft. I hope you are getting my point. So once again, what are the events that have happened? First thing, the impulse has reached towards the axon terminal. As soon as the impulse has reached the axon terminal, the voltage gated calcium ion channels, they have opened. The voltage of the impulse causes the channels to open. As soon as the calcium channels open, calcium ions rush in, because the concentration of calcium ions is much more in the extracellular fluid compared to intracellular fluid. The calcium ions rush in and they bind to the vesicles. The vesicles are basically bags carrying the neurotransmitter. As soon as the calcium ions bind with the vesicle, which I have shown over here, these yellow calcium ions, when they bind to the vesicle, they will cause the vesicles to migrate downwards towards the edge of the axon terminal, right? So what I should do is, I should also show the calcium ions bound over here. And because of the calcium ions attaching to the vesicles will go and bind to the edge of the axon terminal membrane, then they will burst. The bursting of vesicles to release the neurotransmitters, that is called as exocytosis. So let me label it over here. Okay, this is exocytosis. Exocytosis is when a cell bursts, right? So the vesicles are bursting and they are releasing the neurotransmitters. Now we have to draw the postsynaptic neuron. So I hope all the events up till now are clear. Please remember all the labelings. The presynaptic neuron, the axon terminal, it is also called as synaptic bulb, or it is also called as the synaptic knob, because it appears like a knob or a bulb. Then the vesicles are present, the neurotransmitters are present inside the vesicle, the calcium channels are present, which are voltage gated. That means the electrical impulse, when it comes, the voltage of that impulse will cause the channels to open up, and rest of the mechanism you know. Now let us draw the next part. Now I'm going to rub this part of exocytosis, because I need to draw over here. Now I'm going to use a different color, and I'm going to use probably green color. So I'm going to draw the postsynaptic neuron. Now over here, the synaptic cleft, the distance between the presynaptic and postsynaptic neuron is much more. In electrical synapse, it is just 3.8 nanometers approximately, but here the neurotransmitter is itself going to travel through the cleft and attach to the postsynaptic neuron. So even if the distance is more, it is okay, and the distance is approximately between 20 to 40 nanometers. So I'm just going to show the postsynaptic neuron at a more distance. Okay, so over here I'm going to now show the postsynaptic neuron. This is the postsynaptic neuron, and you can see that the distance which is between the pre and the postsynaptic neuron, that is much more in this case. All right, now this surface of the postsynaptic neuron which I have shown with this green color, this surface also has got receptors. Okay, and these receptors I'm going to show over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to again use orange color, and I'm also going to use the eraser. So there are receptors which are present in the postsynaptic neuron, and again when the postsynaptic neuron is at rest, these receptors are closed. Again, these are channels. What I mean by receptors is that these are channels and they are going to allow ions to flow through, but they are normally closed when the postsynaptic neuron is at rest. So over here I have shown that all of them are closed, right? Now what happens is, when these neurotransmitters released by the presynaptic neuron, these neurotransmitters, they are released into the synaptic cleft, right? This area, if you remember properly, this area, it is the synaptic cleft. So these neurotransmitters, they are released into the synaptic cleft, and they will pass through the synaptic cleft and they will bind to the receptor. They will bind to the receptor present on the postsynaptic neuron. So over here I am showing that it has bound, right? Again it will bind over here, again it will bind. So the structure of the neurotransmitters is very similar to the structure of the receptor, so that it can bind easily to the receptor. And when the neurotransmitter binds to the receptor, the complex which is formed, which is having both the neurotransmitter and the receptor present on the postsynaptic neuron, this structure is called as a ligand. Normally the definition of a ligand is when to the main atom accessory molecules are attached, that structure is called as a ligand. I will write it down over here. The spelling is L-I-G-A-N-D. Over here we are using the word ligand to represent the neurotransmitter attached to the receptor. Let me label receptor over here so that it becomes easy. This orange color structure is the receptor. Okay, and receptor plus neurotransmitter, it is called as ligand. Now what happens is, as soon as the neurotransmitter attaches to the receptor opens, because the receptor is again like a channel. But here what is controlling the opening and closing of the channel? The neurotransmitter is controlling. See, in the presynaptic neuron, the calcium channels were controlled by voltage. So the channels opened as soon as the impulse reached that area. But here, the receptors which are present on the postsynaptic neuron, they are ligand gated channels. That means as soon as the complex is formed, as soon as the neurotransmitter attaches with the receptor, the channel will open. So if I want to show that, I can again rub this and I can show that the receptors have opened up. So now you can see that the receptors or the channels, it is the same thing. Receptor is a structure which is going to receive the chemical, and that is why it is called as a receptor. You can see that I have shown they have opened, and also I can show that the neurotransmitter is bound to it. Okay, this is bound to this one, and this one. So now these receptors have opened up, and they have opened up because of the ligand which has been formed. That is why these receptors, they are also called as ligand gated ion channels, because the formation of ligand is going to control the opening and closing of these receptors or these channels. As soon as the ligand is formed, the channels will open. As soon as I remove the neurotransmitter, again the channels will close. If voltage is regulating the opening and closing of channels, it is called voltage gated ion channel. I hope this is clear. Okay, now over here I need to label a few things. I also need to complete the diagram. So this over here, if you can see, this is the postsynaptic neuron, right? In this structure, let me just complete over here and let me label it. This is the postsynaptic neuron. So the receptors are present. Now what happens is, as soon as the channels open up, as soon as the receptors present on the postsynaptic neuron open up, an impulse is created in the postsynaptic neuron. The opening up of these channels, what happens is, the opening up of these channels causes the ions to flow through the channel. For example, suppose if this channel which I have drawn over here, if it is a sodium channel, so as soon as it opens up, what will happen is the sodium ions will rush inside. Or if it is a potassium channel, say for example, then potassium channel ions will rush inside, and because of the rushing of these ions inside the postsynaptic neuron, a new impulse is generated. So the impulse has now traveled to the postsynaptic neuron. Initially the impulse was in the presynaptic neuron, but because of neurotransmitters which have now connected or joined to the receptor, the channels have opened up on the postsynaptic neuron, and because of that a new impulse has been generated, and that I can show again with a green color over here, and I can show that this is the impulse. So the binding of the neurotransmitter with the receptor causes a new impulse to be created. A new electrical impulse is created, and this is created where? It is created in the dendrite of the postsynaptic neuron. Please remember this part which I have labeled, it is the dendrite part, you know this. And inside the dendrite a new impulse is created. Again it will pass to the dendron, cyton, axon of the postsynaptic neuron. Again it will reach the axon terminal. Again the same thing will happen. So this is called as chemical synapse. Obviously here the time taken for the impulse to travel from the presynaptic neuron to the postsynaptic neuron is much more. Okay, so that is why these synapses occur in areas which normally require a relatively slower pace of impulse. Okay, so reflex actions will not have chemical synapse because reflex action require the impulse to travel very quickly, whereas in the case of chemical synapse the electrical impulse travels very slowly. Now the question arises, now the impulse has already traveled into the postsynaptic neuron, it has gone. Now when a new impulse enters the presynaptic neuron, again the same thing will happen. The vesicles will come down, the calcium channels will open, calcium channels, calcium ions will attach to the vesicle, vesicle will come towards the edge, it will burst, exocytosis, neurotransmitters will be released, but the receptors are already open on the postsynaptic neuron because the neurotransmitters have already been attached to that. So the new impulse cannot be formed, because the new impulse will only be formed when a new neurotransmitter attaches to the receptor and the receptor opens. But here the receptors are already open because of the transmission of the previous impulse. So what will happen now? How will the impulse be conducted to the postsynaptic neuron? So as soon as the impulse travels from the presynaptic to the postsynaptic neuron, after the conduction of the impulse, what happens is this neurotransmitters which are bound to the receptor, they are destroyed. So if you see, I am rubbing off the neurotransmitters, and as soon as the neurotransmitters are destroyed, what happens is these channels or these receptors which are present on the postsynaptic neuron, they will again close. So again I am showing that the receptors have closed, and because of that, when the new impulse arrives at the presynaptic neuron, the presynaptic neuron will release neurotransmitters once again. Again the neurotransmitter will bind to the receptor which is closed. It will cause the receptor channel to open. Again the ions will flow inside the postsynaptic neuron. Again new impulse will be generated. So again the impulse can be conducted. So after every transmission of impulse from the presynaptic to the postsynaptic neuron, the old neurotransmitters attached to the receptors, they are removed so that the channel can close, because till the neurotransmitter is attached to the receptor, the channel will remain open. Now the question is, who is destroying the neurotransmitters? So inside this synaptic cleft, there are certain enzymes which are present whose function is to destroy the neurotransmitter after the transmission of every impulse. For example, suppose if I take the example of a neurotransmitter called as acetylcholine, let me write it down with red color. Okay, suppose if I say that the neurotransmitter over here is acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is a type of neurotransmitter. Suppose this orange structure, red structures which are released, suppose they are acetylcholine. Then in the case of acetylcholine, this acetylcholine, when it binds to a receptor, the channels will open up, right? The impulse will pass. But now what? After the impulse has passed, you need to remove the acetylcholine. This is the neurotransmitter. Please remember that. I will write it down over here. So in the case of acetylcholine, inside the synaptic cleft, there is a special enzyme which is called as cholinesterase. And from the name itself, you can identify that this enzyme, the function of this enzyme is to destroy the acetylcholine. So this cholinesterase enzyme, it will destroy the acetylcholine. So in short, whatever neurotransmitter is present, an enzyme will always be present in the synaptic cleft, which will be responsible for the destruction of the neurotransmitter after its job has been done, because for a new impulse to be formed, you require a new neurotransmitter to attach to the receptor. That same old neurotransmitter, if it remains attached to the receptor, a new impulse cannot be formed in the postsynaptic neuron. So every time a new neurotransmitter comes, the channel will open, ions will pass in, new impulse will be formed. Then the enzyme will destroy the neurotransmitter, again channels will close, again new impulse, new neurotransmitter attachment, same thing will keep on happening again. So these enzymes like cholinesterase play a very important role in maintaining the transmission of impulse, and these enzymes are present in this synaptic cleft. Okay, so if I draw these green colored structures over here, you can assume that these are cholinesterase molecules which have the function of removing the neurotransmitter once its job has been done. I hope this is clear. The receptor will keep on remaining open till the neurotransmitter is attached. Or over here, if we take the example of acetylcholine, till the acetylcholine is attached, the channel will remain open. That is why it is called ligand gated ion channel. The ions may be either sodium, potassium, depending on which channel it is. If it is a sodium channel, it will allow the flow of sodium channels. If it is a potassium channel, it will allow the flow of potassium ions. Alright. So I hope this mechanism is clear. I hope you have understood all the things which are happening at the end of the presynaptic neuron. What is the function of the voltage gated calcium channels? When will they open? How will they bind to the vesicle? What will happen to the vesicle when calcium ions bind to that? How the vesicle will burst? The neurotransmitters will be released in the synaptic cleft. From the synaptic cleft, they will travel to the receptor, attach, and the information is carried forward. So here the impulse is basically not transmitted directly from presynaptic to postsynaptic by skipping or jumping of the electrical impulse. A separate electrical impulse is generated in the postsynaptic neuron. It is generated because of the attachment of neurotransmitter or because of the movement of the neurotransmitter from presynaptic neuron to postsynaptic neuron. That is why this synapse is called as chemical synapse. Please remember, inside the neuron, the impulse will always be electrical only. Inside the neuron, there will never be chemical synapse. Inside the neuron, the message is always in the form of electrical impulse. But between the neurons, if electrical impulse is responsible for conduction of the message, it is electrical synapse. If chemicals are responsible, it is chemical synapse. So with that, we have completed our topic of synapse. We have completed electrical synapse and chemical synapse. Okay. If you found this lecture helpful, do put in a like, do comment, share it with your friends, and I will be uploading many more lectures related to the nervous system. Alright, thanks a lot.